Hey, this is Misery Loves Company, a weekly social reading series hosted by miserytourism.com. Every Friday, we welcome outsider and transgressive writers to come and share their work with us. And guys, what do you know?
Hey.
This is basically the third anniversary of the first Misery Loves Company. We're a few days off because obviously the weeks aren't perfectly synced up. I think it was the 24th instead of the 21st. But yeah, we've been doing this for 3 fucking years, guys, and
3 years.
this will be the last one. No,
Rip.
no, we're gonna keep doing these forever. Anyway, I'm rambling.
Forever. Forever.
Forever. You can tell I'm stalling for time. We have like nobody signed up tonight. Anyway, up first
Yeah.
tonight is Rudy.
Okay, so I'm feeling really I don't know tonight. So I'm gonna read some more game poetry. Hey. I guess I'm feeling really stupid, I guess is the word I was looking for. So this one this one here is called League of Legends. Vel'Koz is a mid laner I hate to play against, and even though I'm not a lore fag, I'm fangirling over his character background, consuming, destroying, as I sit here writing poems for a chat book, or a bloke book, or a governor book, or whatever it's called today, in a format book that I see little value in, a physical medium, a vessel made to sit on shelves, to be dissected on Goodreads via cultural vivisection. Who the fuck cares? Jockeying for position in a crowded lane of autofiction's champions, Josh Sherman. Getting zoned hard by my own dumb desire for interactivity in a world where passive consumption is king of the arena, Draven. Out here catching axes, building out oration, while the work itself will be finger food, finger fucked by, if I'm lucky, a handful of Vel'Kozes, Orotsuki Doji, who are skimming for significance, taxonomy, and I sometimes want to have something I fetishize the way people fetishize and internalize literature or fidget spinners, something I enjoy enough to unbox, to hold up in a video, to hold me up, but mostly I just want to make things, make experiences that defy easy understanding. And Vel'Koz means to understand by unmaking. This one is called Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball. The first time I ever got heated over a game was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I used to punch myself in the stomach when I died. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was a good game I played to death, mostly tainted memories. Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball was a shit game. I remember getting too tilted on its sublimely experimental mechanics. Wrong way. Just gripping the paddle hard, alone. Until me and Carl played this for 5 hours on a school night, through ginger ale, through Little Caesars pizza, through the controller, Rocket. Carl almost beat it, pinball wizard shit. Carl was my other friend's older brother, chilling with the older kids. Maybe pinball was more relevant to them. Maybe they just had more patience or reflexes. My gag reflex for specialty mechanics only increases over time as design patterns become like cancerous parts per million inside me. I would suck Peter Morowiec's dick, Emerald Shaft, in a big casino. This one is called Dr. Mario. Oh, the one or two joyful experiences I've had with puzzle games haven't been with Dr. Mario. No shit. My therapist wasn't named Mario. He was named after a different game. And when I talk to the clinic where the friendly neighborhood Italian with a degree in depth plumbing whips the capsules into my mouth, my language is all kinds of colorful, way beyond 8-bit. I'd like to take the red blue pill, blissful baseness, strut in there hot off a bad weekend of no yellow pill, a schedule 2 they love to play around with. I have a schedule 2, and make the staff's clothing yellow, then red, families blue, press red, totally inflamed. Papers, please. That's the one. That's one of the good ones. Why did he turn to murdering a whole building full of people? Good folks who sit around making lines disappear. This one is called Unreal Tournament. I guess Unreal Tournament bots have passed Turing tests. Godlike. But I sure wish they could have passed my New York State Regents exams, which are the most kidsploitationist exams this side of a Turn-and-Cough administered by the king of pop in a narrow corridor where the lights are turning off one by one. Kids filter out of the gymnasium, and I'm still here. Redeemer, shine your holy glow on me. Steer me, remotely guide my hand on the Scantron, or melt my fucking face like the little Nazi I am. Ark of the Covenant style, Arctan, Frigonometry, Freakonomics. In 2020, I'll be using an impact hammer to put together ship holes for the smart Chinese kids to ride in. If I don't do this math right, angles, left angles. I'm not into this nonsense, despite being on my grind in Unreal Ed, carrying vertices a new asshole, immersing myself in technical language that dupes my brain into thinking I'm sophisticated and not just a basement dwelling goblin, concave, convex. I remember when my friend John called my UT levels art. That was the first time anyone used that word for my extra-worldly creative labors that test patience, reasoning, and other academic buzzwords, sculpting hallways from basic primitives, illuminating rooms with volumetric lights, wrangling the purple mover brush my test off, black erasure, cosine punched into my TI-84, cosine student loans punched my bank account. To this day, tangent. When I showed the art project I was doing to the art teacher, she said, whatever. And about that time, Kurt and I said, never mind. This one's called Castle of Dr. Brain. Why does this standardized test have graphics? This one is called Math Blaster. The best form of what Chris Rock called bullet control would be a gun that only spits rounds if a math problem was completed by its wielder, since there would never be a school shooting again, except maybe in graduate level math courses, which fine, because let's not pretend we care for those who revel in excess information, narratives of trivia, and data whisperers love an understated riddle. 4x. If a bullet fired from a gun 2 inches away from a face is traveling at 1,500 feet per second, how many seconds until the victim touches the hem of his garment? Jesus. Now there's a math problem that would take writer/storyteller Dylan's breath away, take Cassie's martyrdom away, take my gun CIA, take the agency away from responsible, predominantly minority gun owners and communities where the school system is probably still running a computer with a 3 1/4 floppy. Racist. And I'm not saying they're stupid, Mr. Sharpton. I'm just saying that standardized tests have problems. I'm just saying that maybe there should be an open-ended written option for those who prefer a flyleaf to a familiar number. I'm just saying that not everyone can be Cho Sung Lee. I'm just saying, for 15 minutes while you say, and when we both reach power level 9,000, we explode on each other, triggering the audience, cue mouths foaming, seizures and fits. Or maybe that was Pokemon. That's it.
Oh man, these were fantastic. So in the Sonic Spinball one, when you said the wrong way in Rocket moments, that awful tune played in my head. The one from the game, you know, when the one where you're about to fall in the pit, or when Sonic is hanging on the edge, so like that awful like guitar riff that's like so shrill and grating, it played inside my head while you were talking. Anyway,
it's an awful game.
It sucks. You know, they just put it on Switch Online not that long ago. So I went back to play it and I was like, well, maybe I was just bad because I was a kid, you know? No, that game fucking sucks. Anyway, man, your poetry, on the other hand, does not. And these are fantastic. As I said before, I love this whole series that you're doing, the video game series that interweaves the various like memoir autofiction elements. My favorite from this set, though, and you may have seen me actually started clapping, is the Dr. Mario one. That that is so fucking good. I love the way you integrate, because what you remember from that game were the tricolor pills, right? And the tricolor germs.
Yeah.
And I love the way you integrate those colors into the poem, first as actual pills that you might be taking, and then as the like aftermath of your psychological breakdown, right? Of the massacre that occurs at the end of the poem. I love the way like you keep coming back to that motif. And I mean, it's funny. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say a poem like that is funny, but I
Yeah, I
know
think it's funny.
you intended it to be funny, and I found it funny. So I'm going to say that is actually
Yeah. Fair. Yeah.
that it's a really funny poem. It's a really pithy poem. It moves along briskly, and it's a perfect example of what you're doing here and what I talked about the last time you read, where these poems like work perfectly as these kind of illustrations of your tortured mental state, but also work perfectly as a critique or an examination of the game being highlighted. And I love that. And that's also just as true of the League of Legends one, which is quite good. And I love the way that one cycles back at the end. Like that one just comes together. That's a great one because it kind of unfurls and then it winds back in on itself. My only regret here is that when you mentioned fidget spinners, I looked around my desk for my fidget spinner and I
Yeah.
put it somewhere and I didn't have it, so I
I
couldn't.
think I saw you looking. Yeah. Where's the slinky though?
The Slinky's here. The Slinky is always
Oh,
here.
there you go. Yeah.
But the fidget spinner is missing at the worst possible moment. Anyway, man, these
Yeah.
were fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks.
And Coleman is here, so Coleman's up next.
Hey y'all,
Hey man, how's it going?
pretty good. Sorry I had to burp. I'm pretty good. I'm gonna read a few poems. This first one is called I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's German for to become an addict. It's Sichtig Verden. We haven't had sex in months, but that's okay since I don't feel anymore. I'd rather jerk off alone with German torture porn. Porn proves romance takes refuge. Violence is intimacy's last resort. Like maybe I'd burn myself the fuck alive just to smell the smoking flesh. And this is called Mercy / Getting Older. Jesus sobs at my gray pube, but I can't see, hear, or touch him. I know Jesus exists, otherwise I'd be pure like meth, a vase filled with cyanide pills. I know Jesus sobs. He's drunk off his own blood and knows everything. I want to give birth before death. I'll kill my child if they know too much. Every minute brings me closer, near some kind of answer. And so this one's a prose poem. It's about Schrodinger's cat. It's called Schrodinger's Little Chonker. We took out the cat, the Maine Coon with auburn fur, and named her Tobias. We stashed our wet brains in the box with poison, at once joyous and forlorn. And that's all for me. Thanks, guys.
Coleman, those were great. I love the Jesus poem. Oh my God, the he's drunk off his own blood and knows everything. That, man, that's a line I'm fucking envious of. But that entire poem is great, and it's great in the way that so many of your poems are great, which is they're very sharply written, they're very witty, but they have real cutting emotional depth. And it's a funny poem. It's a hilariously funny poem, but it's a deeply and legitimately sad poem. Like, it gets at a certain kind of real, like, human pathos. Like, it, because so often when we're sad, when we're heartbroken, we're also laughing at ourselves, right? And that's something that I think is challenging to capture in literature. It's not easy. It's not easy at all to manage to have that kind of tense emotional state where you're pulled between two poles and have it come through clearly on the page. And man, you do that sublimely, man. You do. And yeah, these are 3 more great examples of that. Thank you, man.
Thanks, y'all.
So Kat is up next.
Hey.
Hi, Kat. Thank you for, by the way, for agreeing to sign up on the last minute here.
Oh yeah, so I'm feeling weirdly confident right now, so I'm gonna read. I started writing this novel like a while ago, and I've been like playing with it for like a year, and I finally got like what I think is a good opening to it, and I don't really know like all what I'm doing yet, but I'm just gonna read like some of the opening and then some of another part. I'm trying to decide if I should say anything else. I won't. It's all in the second person also. One night you decide I'm gonna wake up burning. Not just this one morning, but every morning for months. The timing so precise it can't be written off. Just right place, right time, 2 neighbors smiling at each other across a chain link fence. You know what you're doing. You feel it too, you have to. That warm stone leaving you and nestling in me like a seed. It's 10 p.m. and you bring out the trash, bleary-eyed in black sweats. I can't even make out your whole face until the car rolls past and the headlights sweep by and I see you're smiling at me, holding up a bag of trash like a drink you're toasting to me from across the room. It's silly, but I feel myself smiling too, lifting my arm up to hold my own bag of trash in your direction before reaching over the back gate and dropping it in the plastic bin. The whole exchange takes less than 5 minutes. A few minutes, seconds even, spent searching the house for shoes or waiting until an ad came on in the show we were watching and we would have missed each other. But we end up walking outside within a minute of each other to do the same thing on the same night. And I look at you right as you smile at me. The window is too narrow. You know what you're doing. This is something you decided. You were some force outside of the body, holding us up by parallel strings, cueing the car to pass and pour warm light on the side of your face. There's no way you don't feel it. You turn around and shuffle back toward your house up the 2 concrete steps leading to your back door, and I do the same. And for a fraction of a second, I warn myself not to make a thing of this. I say, you're gonna go inside and put a new bag in the trash can in the kitchen and the one in the bathroom, and then you're gonna brush your teeth and go to bed. But it's too late, it's out of my hands. And when I wake up in bed the next morning, what you gave me is already there in the pit of my stomach, smoldering. And so then there's like a huge break. And this is like just another random part of the book. In the middle of the night, I want to touch myself, so I start thinking about your wife, the way I know she's touching you right now in the dark of your bedroom, using the heat of your body to make the wallpaper curl in the corners and start peeling from the crown molding. She's got you on your back on the mattress, sanding you down with her hands. She's wearing a checkered button-down tied up in the front, that tasteful sliver of pale midriff when it rides up. You vibrate with pleasure watching her peer around the crevices of your body, sizing you up like a hunk of reclaimed wood, a finger running down your side, searching for rot, a look that says this'll do before she mounts you. She won't let you touch her, of course, and laughs softly while you buck your hips. You beg and she gushes over your lap like epoxy, and your cock is transformed into something smooth and watertight, and you want to come, but you're sealed forever at a perfect full mast that holds her up like a beam. That's when you think of me, that pulling deep in your stomach. It leads you to the room in the back of your mind where you get the things you want. I'm there, under you and against the wall and tied to a post coming up through the floor in all corners, anticipating your needs like a perfect foil. And you call me the name it never felt right to call her, and I call you the one it never felt right to ask her to say, over and over again, echoing you back to yourself as you push into me. Then the three of us come at the same time, the two of you together. Sorry, the two of us together in the room in your mind, and the real me in my bed imagining you and your wife and yours. That's all I got.
Pat, this is fantastic. I love the way that you capture like these moments of like imagined serendipity. That first section where this is something that's incredibly mundane, right? This is something that is incredibly mundane and probably entirely accidental, but our brains like attach this incredible psychic significance to these things, especially when we want significance, right? When we want meaning, when we want to make an emotional connection to another human being, we look for all these little moments of serendipity, and you capture that with like such intellectual precision in that first section, and then the way it culminates in the second section is great, because on the one hand, I mean, I've said before how huge a fan I am of books with unreliable narrators. And even though you don't technically have an unreliable narrator because you have that second, it's like an unreliable second person, almost like Camus' The Fall or something, where like the unreliability is being dictated to you by an outside force. But I love what you've done here, because great books about unreliable narrators make them seem both entirely deranged and entirely plausible at the same time. And this is that. Like, it's, if you take a step back, this is fucking nuts. But you can go right in there and say, yeah, I could see myself there. I could see myself having exactly that kind of experience, making those kind of psychological interpretations out of that desire to like make a human connection. It's just really good. It's really good, Kat. Thank you for sharing. I hope
Thank you
you
so
keep going
much.
with it. Yeah, and John is up next. And John is up last too. So if anyone would like to read after John, just put it in the chat.
I didn't prepare anything. So I don't know what I'm gonna read, but
Ah,
I could reread something, or I have this file on my computer. I'm not sure. It's just titled AI. I don't remember if I wrote this or I made it in an AI. I don't know I think a friend might have made it. I don't know.
fuck it. Take credit. They're not here, are they?
I don't know.
Your
I'll
friend
read it.
isn't here, and Chat GPT is not here. So you can just say this is your work and I'll believe it.
Okay, this is something I worked really hard on, and I'm really glad to be able to share it with you guys tonight. Here it goes. All I really wanted was for my penis to be smaller. I was told that it would just be a matter of time, but I still wanted to shorten it immediately. They told me it would shrink because of gravity and that I would need to massage it to make sure it was working. I went to the hospital to talk to the doctor, not to have my dick shrunk, naturally. And they showed me the common reasons that they had it removed. They suggested that having it removed would be the more convenient solution. So I decided to get it removed right then. Mr. Owens is a biologist whose wife often complains that he spends too much time away on work, so she is unwilling to have his children. Mr. Owens is intrigued by a mysterious videotape of a man having his penis restored. He seeks the company of other men who have had their penises restored, postponing his family life in the process. The video turns out to be a routine marketing roadshow demonstration, and Mr. Owens is duped into having what he thinks is a penis enlargement laser surgery performed on himself. Mr. Owens discovers his son, whose penis he has been told is normal size, is actually a teenage girl. A serial killer is revealed to be a woman named Vicky, who trapped a number of men and boys by withholding the information that she would shrink their penises. She eventually targeted the perpetrator of a hate crime against the disabled, framing him by pressing a hypodermic needle into his scrotum, Vicky later kills herself. It starts as a simple operation on a child with a tumor on his penis, but turns into a terrible situation when the tumor grows and the surgeon who removed it is murdered by the surgeons at the hospital, who realize it's fucked up and makes the child very mad. In the end, in a want of cash, the child is almost killed by the surgeon, but he is later killed by the wife of the surgeon who doesn't want to pay for the operation. George, who does not want children, insists the shrinker will free him from the infertility that he blames on himself and his wife. When he discovers he has been shrunk and injected with a serum, he happily agrees that his wife has been impregnated and goes to live with his wife and his children in the shrunken house. All the shrunken humans escaped and they freed all the other shrunken humans, and they are all together and they are all out to get everyone else. A shrinkage machine that is set to shrink the prosthetic penis is causing havoc with the Markham's marriage. Experimentation ensues as Elroy explains to his wife, Susan, its significance. Along the way, Elroy explains the significance of his existence as a white male and Susan's role as a middle-aged white woman. Elroy explains the evolutionary significance of his wife's ethnicity and sexual orientation as Susan's true nature is revealed. Elroy is initially dismayed until Susan says that she had always known him to be a surrogate father to her, and she can now be intimate with a man she loves. This is not a twist. It is straight up porn. My patented male enhancement device enlarges my penis to the maximum length and girth possible, about 7 inches. But my wife... But my wife's breast augmentation seems to have given our relationship a boost. The shrink test led a group of medical students to discover that the biggest penis in the world was a balding asthmatic used to shoot rabbit snot up his urethra. Thank you. What do you have to say about that, Will?
No, I'm sad Gianluca isn't here, given his love of AI generated writing and his love of like AI assisted writing, because this has exactly the kind of deranged absurdity that his work always has. You know how much of this was you and how much of this was the AI, because it's pretty clear this was AI assisted.
I do not know what, I don't know. This is just on my laptop on the desktop. I don't know if like, let me even check when this file was made, because I have no clue about this. This could be like a year old.
And I know that sometimes like ChatGPT is reluctant to write on these sorts of subjects. I'm kind of wondering.
I was gonna say this probably wasn't ChatGPT at all.
This was made in April of last year. So I don't, it's just been here. I don't know.
Did the genie make it or something?
I don't.
That's actually, that adds a whole new scary level to it. The possibility that maybe the AI just wrote it itself and left this.
Yeah.
Man, though, this is, I don't know. That's it's. I have to imagine though that you told an AI like, please write a story about shrinking penises or something. You had to have read it at least that much.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would have had to say something. But,
but at any rate, whether it was you or the AI or your friend, it was really fucking funny. And you and the AI and your friend should collaborate on more like really deranged shit.
Thank you. I put a lot of work into it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gigi thinks I'm being mean to the AI or racist towards the AI because I'm just referring to it as an AI instead of calling it like by its name or by its proper noun. Anyway, man, thank you so much. We needed I couldn't think of a better way to fill 5 or 10 minutes of Misery Loves Company than that.
I just say that that reads like a version of the Marvel universe, like Ant-Man or something, that I would want to watch, basically.
Ant-sized
should-
penis.
Basically, yeah. I mean, you should pitch that to, I guess Stan Lee's not alive, but whoever runs Marvel now, I guess some Disney executive or suit or whatever. You should absolutely pitch that.
I mean, with the writer's strike going on, you never know. They just
Yeah.
might
There
take-
you go.
There you
Right,
go.
Exactly.
Do you want to be a scab, John?
I'll just say it wasn't me.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
It was the AI. See, you don't have to take responsibility.
I'll say, damn, someone should really stop these AIs, but send the check my way. But
All
this
right.
is
thank you.
terrible.
This is horrible. All right. Thank you, John. So 2 people signed up while you were reading. Ryan is up next, and then Keith after Ryan.
Hi. I was just gonna read. I hope my mic's working. I was just
Yep.
gonna read. Okay. I was just gonna read. This is just it's sci-fi, so it's just background stuff for the novel I've been working on, and yeah, I'm just gonna read it. It doesn't have a title right now. It opens with a quote. If the pathogenic organisms are there, it's unlikely you'll get them all off. What are you going to do? Not eat? And that's attributed to Patricia Griffin. Orchid said, I give you your bones, bereft the spin gum of you, for those things are for the paper trees. She'd said that to pass it on through Leia's sparrow weavings. An easy ask because she'd be away from it, not worried about it. For her, it's time, a bit more wound down, and this planar, not when spiders brook easy, can wander at their leisure, because eventually the web sticks with the residue of ground, tread time and again. The line gunks up each time, a little more every pass. Still as Leia ossifies into permanence. Ah, shit, battery. My battery, let's just have a laugh. Sorry. Still as Leia ossifies into the permanence of the Oracle hood, she thinks, there's no right way to do this. She gathers the billows of her smoke skein, through which she controls what she sees, how she sees it, how others see her. Her mission is to record the final moments of Morgan's tender, at the end of its growth now fading to black. What makes an exile is they can't, in the end, nourish their tenders. And that would happen, she thinks, without me. Without a tender, the way to go is full of harm with my eyes not reaching them, and when they're gone, there goes Orcades prechrysalis. By this time, the world of electric flora is in early disintegration. The light breaking through the vein linings that held back the data stream encased, tinged to phosphor green and the bleed lines web across the sky. Here where the canopy is tattered enough to see them. Crackling through the bramble, micro-latticed up there, with the dying tender straining to reach them. By now Morgan has passed the clean flame. With him gone, the tenders let the frost in that she'd spun into foreign attack. Orca Mutate hangs on with a desperate grip, but sure, she thinks, it's just winter, and winter is when Orca wanted to change. So as she pulls her smoke skein along its trails laugh and spark against the flora, gleaning as clear a picture as she can, through the smoke as it stabs. She's not a moment too soon, with the white bleach of the frost coating the nanonodes and spreading through the data stream the way blood flows, carries sickness through it. Through her sight, she sees the bleach, but not the data itself, the spoolings, interweavings of Orca unknown to her. Of course, Leia could say, I told you so, if it all looms out into something she doesn't want. But she thinks that isn't part of her role here, not as designated by the gates. And the gates have strict rules on not going too far, because the last thing the Coven wants is for a stronger power to care for any reason that they're around, scuttling through the Cosmere and knowing, getting close to, the strands thick with meaning. It's gross, she thinks, and hates herself for it. But Orke had seen value in them, had led them deep into the tangle. Serving the planet consciousness and its chrysalis was enough for the strains of thought that Gates bled into their cluster mind. For Indus reasons, it wouldn't be her part to watch what happened after. When the flora are iced over, then she'll know. Even as the corruption spreads, the oversweet musk of the tender wanes beneath the still blotting of nothing. The musk going, the scent fading out. Like berries passing ripe, souring, and all her pharaoh weavings are to capture the scent, strain it from the spreading nothing. So it can be sequenced for schema if needed. Without us, so little would get done, she thinks, but she needs to think it. Or else never after would she feel the hatred, take it with her like her smokescreen back home, to the cluster mind beyond the gates, where they all tumble over each other and pattern each other's weavings, skip across them with needle-thin legs, drawing here and spooling there. And before you are gated, you are not even sequenced from the hive. When you come back, you have a name and a face, and you must wait for both to die. The tender's final cry is a harsh wind wailing, wavering, as if choking on its own sound. Tenders don't know they can die until they do. When they do, they realize they're alone for it, alone, and if this one knows her as witness, they don't care. It's their keeper that they want. He isn't coming back, she longs to tell it. It's just me and you now, for whatever I am, and you are. When the tender knows it can no longer keep going, it gives up its ghost to the network sun. But other tenders, the disintegration teaching all the nano nodes to give of themselves to the nothing beyond, wouldn't see it coming. And so Morgan's is the last lonely death. With that in her memory, she is tired. Her banks are swollen and bloat against their limits, like bodies pressed against binding a rope, cutting grooves into the shape of it, and she knows only when she is past the gate will she be released of it. For now she holds it, and with wary eyes keeps the smoke sky and dust in, the better to slip away, unknown and unknowing, into the folds of the outer embrace, itself a cage the kindred could never see. Slipping away where the lilacs are stalk through petal, almost not bothered, except for the chalk white that strains, and thin trickles and blemish where the trickles meet, running past each other, climbing from the neonic alone like wriggling worms, the kind of right thing she has a taste for, this far out into the black. That's it. It was probably incomprehensible, but thank you for letting me read it.
No, right, it wasn't incomprehensible. It was hypnotic, is what it is. And as usual for your work, as is usually true of your work, it's just gorgeously written. I love the language that you use to describe everything in this piece. The world of electric flora. I love that turn of phrase. Or saying like the paper trees. There's so much. Every sentence here has some gorgeously realized image in it. And even like the mundane stuff happening in this piece is just beautifully presented in terms of your prose. And as usual, like you feel the richness of your world in this, even as like it washes over you and consumes you. It's good as usual, Ryan. It's great stuff.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm gonna just dip back out because
Okay.
yeah, but thank you.
Thank you, man. And closing us out tonight is Ryan. But not Ryan, I'm sorry, is Keith. Ryan, it just went. Is Keith. Keith, I think, is going to be reading something from his notes app.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna read from my phone. This is a piece I wrote, put in my notes app, and I'll just say I'm glad I didn't follow John directly, but I'll just read this piece. It's called Life's Passages Come in Big Ways. For some men, there comes a time in life when they have to make a decision. It's a decision impacting those they love and those they potentially may love. It's not an easy decision. It's hard, and the hardness makes it all the more difficult to decide. For some men, there are times in life when they don't want to follow the masses. It's times when men are held to preconditioned expectations. It's times when society says that it's the right thing to do. It's how to express love. It's the near certain finality to the decision. It's fluid, and the fluidity makes it all the more difficult to decide. For some men, there are encounters in life that come with risk. It's times when men are too embarrassed to spend short, intimate moments with strangers nearby. It's times when instead they sit in a truck in a parking lot, alone, hiding behind tinted windows. It's times when they have their hands full with their dispenser and the waiting collector. For some men, there are moments of ecstasy they will always remember. It's times when they can hold their excitement no longer. It's times that they cherish, times that they will be rewarded with smiles when they deliver the goods. For some men, there are mischievous, erotic moments shared with their significant other. Moments that they know from experience feel really good for both of them. It's times when she asks, "Where's the condom?" And the answer back is, "I didn't use one." It's times that the next question will be obvious. Why not? For some men, the answer might be the final deal maker. But for real men, here's what he said when she asked, "Why not?" "I wanted to surprise you. I knew you would feel the difference, and I would too. So a few days ago, I went to the clinic on my lunch break. I sat in the truck in the parking lot and jacked off again. I took my specimen cup inside to the receptionist. I could feel all of the stranger's eyes in the waiting area looking at my crotch, hoping to see fresh stains on my clothes or a bulge from my dick. But this time I had better aim and control. And I made sure to position my dick in an inconspicuous way in my boxer briefs. Then, when I handed the receptionist the warm cup, she gave me an afterglow smile. I really felt a sense of accomplishment. It was like when we lost our virginity together. Anyways, this morning, the clinic called me and said it was okay to go back to raw dogging, and I am no longer a fertile male. The vasectomy was successful. And so I carefully planned the best way to discreetly satisfy you without spilling my secret. How did I do? Anticipating her answer sent me straight back to attention. I was ready, willing, and able. I felt her hands caress my body as she moved slowly into another of her favorite positions. She didn't have to answer my question. I knew exactly what she wanted me to do. And just before consummating the deal for the second time, there was a soft knock on the bedroom door. Soft voices were whispering, voices of two little boys that we knew would change as they grew older, voices that we realized that once gone would be gone forever. We looked at each other passionately, then dispassionately, and we knew exactly what was going to happen. And it did. Together, we got out of bed, put on our pajamas, and headed towards the knock. And that's how one of life's passages came at us in a big way, expected yet unexpected. Thanks for tolerating this.
You're killing me, Keith. You're killing me. I feel like there was a conspiracy today.
No, there wasn't. There was nothing planned. It just happened like this. That was in my
Make me
notes.
feel as awkward as possible. But no, Keith, I love this. I love the way you've structured this one because, as usual, it has that great understated, sly sense of humor that so much of your work does. But I love this is one of those short pieces that plants the idea of what the story is going to be about well before it makes a reveal. I was like, oh, is this about a vasectomy? Probably about a third of the way in. And you're like, well, maybe. And then of course the payoff was indeed there. But I love the way that you like ease the audience into that realization, and I just everything. It's just really funny. It's that it's balanced precariously between like being wholesome and being blue or whatever you want to call it, like being wholesome and being not wholesome in a really clever and I think really effective way that makes the audience squirm just a little bit extra. And I don't know, it's really good, Keith. I enjoyed it. I feel like Rudy has something to say. I see him there, he's smirking. I feel like he's got a comment.
No, not really, except that it was awesome. It was really good. If I'm gonna say something, I'd have to say that the male seahorse has the babies. Other than that, that was fucking amazing.
Thank you, Rudy. Thank you, Rudy. Ramona, I need to know why you screamed no in the middle of the piece when it was revealed that it was about a vasectomy. Ramona wrote no. Okay.
Most of that story is true. And there's some more stories too, but I'll save those for another time.
Okay. Come back with another one next week, Keith. Oh man, that was great, and I think that was the perfect note to end the night on. So
thanks for letting me share that piece of information with y'all.
You're very welcome, Keith. You're very welcome. All right. Okay. So I think that's a good place to end it on. As usual, I'm going to leave the Zoom meeting open so we can hang out, and maybe Josh will stumble in very drunk in a little bit, who can say. But anyway, this has been Misery Loves Company. We do this every Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Anyone who would like to is welcome to come and join us and share their work. And anyone is welcome to come and just hang out and listen. We tweet out the link just before we begin from our Twitter account @MiseryTourism. And yeah, that's it. Thank you to everyone who read tonight. As often happens, we started with almost no one signed up and ended up with a really, really fun and really awesome night. So thank you to everyone who shared, and especially to people who didn't sign up in advance and decided to share their work off the cuff here. Anyway, thanks everyone.
Forced to share.
And even those who were coerced, like John. All right. Thank you guys. It's been fantastic. That's it.